This is LondonReal. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Joni Vincent, graduate of our Business Accelerator, among others. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian. It's great to be here.
Tell us about you, Joni. Where are you from? What do you do? Break it down for us.
Okay. Originally, American by birth, but have spent a lot of time working internationally. I kind of consider myself fortunate to be an international citizen, as it were. Spent a lot of time in the IT industry, worked for Microsoft for 15 years, and but have always had sort of roles in an entrepreneurial startup-like environment, even when I was working in large global companies. So I kind of have a hybrid corporate mentality with an entrepreneurial spirit, as it were. Right now I reside, I kind of divide my time between St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and Florida. I left the corporate world about 18 months ago to pursue a more entrepreneurial route. And today I've started, as a direct result of the work that I did through the Business Accelerator course, have started a business focused around really people who know that they have either another calling in life or they're missing the mark in one way or another, even if they're in the corporate world, who need an exit strategy or just a way to up their game. So we do that through mastermind groups. We do it through online monthly communities, subscription communities. And also I'm about to launch a new option that's sort of in between the two that will help people sort of over a 6-week time frame just kind of get back in touch with what it is that really resonates for them and help connect them with other communities that will help sort of break through, if that makes sense.
Okay. And before you joined us on the Business Accelerator, what was going on kind of professionally, personally? What made you think, okay, I have to go here?
Yes. Well, as I said, I left the corporate world and knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had left the corporate world. I was ready to do something different. And so I looked at a variety of options, everything from what can I do now to make the same amount of money that I'm making in the corporate world to what if I took a sabbatical, and so I started focusing around network marketing as an option. I have a lot of regard for network marketing because I think it's a way to help impoverished communities in a sort of a micro-franchising way, but that's a whole other topic. So I started looking at that and looking at a variety of areas, and I was narrowing it down to this online marketing, network marketing, but with a flair of human potential. How can we help people see the potential that they have? Because even people who are high performing, I think, don't understand or realize how much potential they have. And so I hadn't been able to articulate it, didn't know, and that really was kind of what drove me to the Business Accelerator course, which was, the promise of you can come with an idea, but not even having a business, and then we'll take that through. And so I obviously watched a few of your webinars, and it really resonated for me. I watched your TED Talk. It resonated for me, which is, I know there's something out there and I'm on to something, but I don't yet know what that is. It's not defined yet. And so that's where I was when I joined Business Accelerator. Okay. And so. Why
LondonReal?
Probably a variety of reasons, Brian. One, I love the energy. The energy is fabulous, and I love the sort of non-judgmental from all walks of life. We have something to learn from everyone, and I watched so many of the interviews that you've done, and so that was one aspect of it. The other aspect was the sort of hardcore accountability, focus. I kind of laughed in the beginning because I joked about going from a really alpha male environment of the corporate world, throwing myself into an alpha male environment of the LondonReal, and in fact, in some respects it is, but in the best ways, which is we have 6 weeks. You're serious about this or not? We're going to hold you accountable, and we're going to, really push you to hold yourself accountable as well. So those were sort of the key reasons for the Business Accelerator, why LondonReal itself. I love as I said, the energy and the community of LondonReal is so varied. The young startup who just thinks, the world is one's oyster, to someone like myself who I'm kind of reinventing myself in another phase, but I still feel like I'm that, 27, 35-year-old with the world in front of me. So, yeah.
What was it like those first 2 weeks when, you get thrown into the thick of it, accountability doc, you've got, 80, 100 people around the world that are your classmates, the live calls, you have to upload video. What was that like?
Well, it was a lot. I remember joking with you when you said, if you have, I can't remember now, 4 hours a week, you can do this. And I thought, right. Really, if you want to do it right, it's not 4 hours a week, but that's good. That, again, that's real life. And so it felt a bit chaotic, definitely took me out of my comfort zone. And I already felt pretty comfortable with things like vlogs, but definitely took me out of my comfort zone. But what struck me, it was two things. One, the real camaraderie with the classmates, like just everybody sort of moving everyone along, no one left behind. And if somebody fell behind, there was no judgment. There was just, what can we do to help? So very chaotic, out of my comfort zone, but yet accountability and camaraderie. But the other thing that struck me that I was surprised about was I kind of went in there a little bit arrogant, and I didn't realize it until I was in there and thought, wow, I have a lot to learn. And we had a conversation about what my business was going to be that I was going to focus on, and you and several of my classmates said, I'm not feeling it. You might be able to do that, but I'm not feeling it from you. And so I was really forced to kind of peel back the onion and really think this through. And it changed quite dramatically. And so that the first few weeks, even the first 2 weeks, where one has to really think through what their niche, their micro niche, the business is, was eye-opening. Whether one ends up doing that as a business in the long run or not, it's beside the point. It was a good exercise.
Yeah, it's interesting to get feedback, and if they're not buying it when you do it to video, it's a great data point for you.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's nice. What was a big win for you over the course, or something you felt proud of that you did throughout?
Probably the biggest win, apart from what I just mentioned, which is sort of having the aha moment of what I really want to do is run mastermind groups, because that's what I love, is connecting people and connecting with people. So that, for me, that was the big win. But apart from that, it was knowing that in 6 weeks I actually do have a business. And I don't know how much your listeners know about the program, but when one starts doing the math, I could actually, in 6 to 8 weeks, start making revenue and income on a really simple concept. And so that for me was a fabulous takeaway, because I can apply it to. I have a philosophy about having multiple income streams, especially now that I'm in the second phase of my career. So it's important for me to do that. I'd like to maintain my same level of income in a different way. And so the other aha was, I can take what I've learned at the Business Accelerator and apply it to innumerable business models or different businesses. So that was probably the other big aha for me.
Yeah, and we saw that potentially come into play, because I think you went and took our Broadcast Yourself course afterwards to create your own podcast.
That's
and in
right.
the middle of that course, what happened?
I was in the Caribbean, and we had 2 Category 5 hurricanes within 12 days. So that was very interesting. And again, I remember thinking, So I went through Business Accelerator, and then I went through Life Accelerator as just a way to keep myself accountable and motivated and connected. And then I did Broadcast Yourself. So I literally did them back to back. And I remember thinking during just this unbelievable chaos, I can't even describe to you what it's like to be in survival mode for 24/7, day after day, week after week. It's compounded. And I remember thinking, I'm okay. I mean, I really felt like it's that simple. I'm okay. I know how to start a business. And the whole, all of the repetition of the Life Accelerator around meditation, which I did already before, but just the repetition around, breathing, meditation, hydration, all of the good habits that one builds. And then the Broadcast Yourself, which unfortunately I did sort of put on hold because I literally had no electricity or Wi-Fi. I do have a phone signal, so I guess you could say that's resistance, Joni. There's no excuse. But I did kind of put that on hold, and I'm right in the throes of relaunching that again. So, but yeah, it's been an experience.
And I remember you started toying with ideas, for charities you could do around the efforts, and I don't know, you seem really empowered to go in any direction you wanted to go.
Yes, I felt empowered. I feel empowered, and so I have been sort of dipping my toes in a variety of areas, one around Humane Society and animals, another around trying to help children and just school children. For 8 weeks, the kids couldn't go to school. There's a large, elderly population that needs help on the island. So there's not a shortage of philanthropic or charitable things to help with. But when sort of thrown into a situation like that, there's, one can sit around and, mope about it and, be a victim, or you can just get on with it. And so I did feel very empowered and thankfully didn't worry about where the income was going to come from. And that's a departure who I was 18 months ago. I probably wouldn't have thought that way. And so that's been very empowering.
Okay. What does your life and business look like in 12 months' time? What are we going to be seeing coming from Joni?
Okay, well, 12 months' time, I see myself as a real part of this entrepreneurial revolution. I spend a lot of time listening to you, Tim Ferriss, Gary Vaynerchuk, the sort of Genius Network. Brendan Burchard, I immerse myself in that right now, and I see myself in that, firmly implanted in that world of human potential, wherever that's going. I mean, anything from longevity or life extension to high human performance, metaphysical neuroscience. I'm just fascinated with where the world is going right now, and I feel as though I was sort of blind to that 18 months ago in my corporate bubble. And I think if I can help other people who are, by all intents and purposes, already high performers but don't have a clue of where they could go, that's where I see myself. So sort of firmly planted in this entrepreneurial revolution, but working with people more from the corporate environment. And I'd like to be considered a sought after subject matter expert, maybe speaker, things like that. And I'm running my own mastermind groups that are, again, for me, it's not the ego of running the mastermind group. It's seeing the other night at the premiere where you spoke about Dan Pena being responsible for $550 billion. Well, I'd love to see the mastermind groups in which I'm involved, having a measurable impact on either communities or businesses, or all of the above, people's personal lives. So that's where I see myself in a year, and I'm going there.
Good.
I can see it. I can feel it on a visceral level.
Good. I'm going to be watching you.
Good.
You graduated from 3 of our accelerators, so business, life, and then the broadcast.
I'm in your inner circle.
And you're in our inner circle, right, which we meet once a month,
right.
and weekly progress reports and all of that stuff. What would you say to someone who's not sure and on the edge and thinking about taking one of our accelerator programs?
Well, I can't. So the first thing I would say is, why are you even questioning it? And if you can think about 6 weeks from now, if you don't pull the trigger now and do this, in 6 weeks from now, I promise you will look back and think, why didn't I do that? 6 weeks goes like this. Number one. Number two, the things that one learns through, whether it's business accelerator, life accelerator, doesn't matter. The things that one learns in that, it's not just about starting a new business. It's not just about refining some aspects of your life or starting a podcast. It's about teamwork. It's about holding oneself accountable. It's about breaking through your comfort zones. So those things, and I've just named 3, can relate to anybody at any point in their lives. So 6 weeks goes like this. The people that you meet, the business ideas that you come up with, that alone is worth the 6 weeks and the investment in time, money, and I know a lot of people feel like it might be a lot of money. You have a lot of options for people who, might not want to make, a one-time investment. So really, if you think your life and your future is not worth that amount of money, then that's probably a first place to start. And you have every reason to do it at that point. If that makes sense. I probably didn't articulate that last point very clearly, but I would say, why wouldn't you do that? And,
Joni, you've had some crazy things thrown at you in the last 12 months, massive amounts of resistance, and you've been bouncing around it and finding your way through, and I think you get stronger, every month. And so I can't wait to see your next 12 months and seeing what you do with all this knowledge that you're armed with. So really excited and really expecting a lot from you as well.
Thank you. Good.
And so, look, you obviously have the background and the passion. I think you speak to a lot of people who used to be like you, who have been in that environment and don't know how to transfer over to a new environment. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you produce.
Thank you. And happy to help as an alumni, people who you come across.
Great.
Who might need some help in that regard. So.
Okay, good. Any final thoughts?
Well, I guess I mentioned to you before in sort of a joking manner about the fact that I did Life Accelerator, Business Accelerator, Broadcast Yourself. I think that the thing that I learned about doing that back to back is that we should never stop learning, and that also has been a real aha for me. Which it's all integrated. And so if one is considering a business accelerator or a life accelerator course, I would suggest don't think of it in terms of a 6-week period. Think of it in terms of, this is something that I'm doing for 6 weeks that's going to sustain me, but you have to continue to do that. In fact, I saw something yesterday that I think you're sort of launching a new, stay in touch 4-week kind of reinvigorate yourself. So that's my suggestion to your viewers, is to really think of this as a, weaving in and out of your life. It's not just a 6-week time frame.
Yeah.
So
great thoughts. All right, Joni, as you know, on LondonReal, we say it's about the journey. I wish you well in yours. Looking forward to what you do in the next 12 months.
Likewise. Thank you,
right,
Brian.
thank you.
Thanks a lot. You bet. Thanks.
The critics who always speak behind my back, maybe I want to hear them remind me, he's back, the great pretender. I hope this time he gets hurt. I love these guys. They give me fuel. If you want to reach your objective, you want to achieve it, you're going to have to be obsessive. You're going to have to be obsessed. feel what you do. Feel it. If you're not feeling it, it doesn't matter.
It's Chris Eubank Jr. How do you explain his prowess in the ring?
Junior has that obsession, that genius, that magic. Genius is obsession, but it's in one area.
You studied the sweet science for so much of your life. How do you walk away from it? Do you miss it?
You can't walk away from it. I am it. And even when I dance, really I'm boxing. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, the one who strives valiantly.
What was the worst day of your life, and how has it shaped you as a human being?
When I fought Nigel Benn, I stood like this. It was to mask this. The risk must be taken. That's why you are London Reelers. That's why we're here. We're tired of sitting still, watching it happening for others. Let's do it.